Now, more than 200 offenders could be eligible for release after serving only a fraction of their sentence. Now, Kentucky's Attorney General is working to ensure they stay behind bars much longer. Jamie Mays joins us in the newsroom with more. Jamie?
Norman, these inmates have been convicted of crimes across several counties in the Commonwealth. They are serving time for charges including everything from manslaughter to assault. Now the Attorney General says he's concerned these offenders could be released early back into the community. Attorney General Russell Coleman is pushing to keep more than 200 convicted criminals behind bars. In February, the Franklin County Circuit Court invalidated a portion of the Safer Kentucky Act, which expanded the definition of violent offender.
We're talking about manslaughter, strangulation, carjacking.
This week, the Circuit Court turned down the AG's request to keep its order from going into effect while litigation continues. So Coleman says he's filed an emergency motion with the Kentucky Court of Appeals to block the Circuit Court's order and keep more than 240 violent convicted criminals in prison.
We're defending the law that redefined these offenses in a common sense way, that said if you commit one of these violent offenses, you should serve 85% before you're eligible for parole. That's what the General Assembly said. That's what common sense would dictate, and that's what we're defending.
The Safer Kentucky Act, or House Bill 5, went into effect in 2024. Representative Jared Bauman, who was a sponsor of the legislation, says before the Safer Kentucky Act, people convicted of offenses like strangulation or reckless homicide could have been eligible for early release after serving 20% of their sentences. He says the Circuit Court's order puts victims and families at risk.
This ruling flies right in the face of the will of the people. The people's legislature sent a clear message when we passed the Safer Kentucky Act that we want violent, dangerous criminals to serve sentences that are commensurate with their violent actions against our innocent neighbors.
Coleman says unless the Court of Appeals takes action, these inmates could immediately be released by the Kentucky Parole Board.
We're asking the court to keep these folks where they should be, locked up.
And the Safer Kentucky Act applies to violent offenders who committed crimes before the law went into effect, as long as they had not been sentenced yet. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Jamie Mays, WLKY News.